Hello, in this video I am going to talk about adapter pattern, and after that I'll show a brief implementation of this pattern. Adapter pattern is a structural design pattern and it allows objects with incompatible interface to collaborate and work with your code. It makes your code adaptable to the incompatible existing code. When you want to use existing class but its interface is not compatible with your code, then use the adapter pattern to make your code or class adaptable. When it is needed to reuse several existing subclasses that lacks some common functionality and that can't be updated to the superclass, then use the adapter pattern. Adapter pattern has an adapter class to work as a mediator between your code and the code which is incompatible and help to integrate both or inject one into another without any problem. So to implement adapter pattern, you have to declare a class which is called adapter class. That adapter class actually works as a mediator to integrate two types of objects which are naturally incompatible with one another. For example, suppose for your business needs, you want to work with some XML data, and using the XML data, you want to visualize some graph or some kind of dashboard. Later, you think that you can use a third-party library to display the data in a dashboard in an efficient way. But the third-party library works with JSON formatted data. In that case, you can create an adapter class that will convert your XML data to JSON formatted data, so that JSON formatted data will be passed to the third-party library, which will be used to visualize the data efficiently in a dashboard. So adapter pattern works as a mediator to integrate two types of incompatible objects. When you don't have the option to change code which is incompatible to make it compatible, in that case you can also use adapter pattern. For example, using third-party library classes in your application. Now I am going to show you a sample implementation of adapter pattern. Before going to the implementation, I want to show you this picture which tells the story of adapter pattern. Here we see that a car and a rail track. We know that a driver who wants to move a car, he needs a road. A car cannot move over a rail track. So for car, rail track is incompatible. So to make car movable over a rail track, we need an adapter. Here it is called car to rail adapter. So when you place or wrap the car into this adapter, we can move the car over a rail track with the help of this adapter. So this car to rail adapter is required to work or to implement an adapter pattern. So this is the whole story of the adapter pattern. So an object can be integrated with another object which is incompatible. Now I am going to illustrate the sample implementation of adapter pattern. Here I have implemented three types of implementation regarding adapter pattern. Before describing the illustration, I want to show a picture. Here we see that sometimes in our house code, we use converter for the socket so that we can use the incompatible plug that does not fit into our wall socket. So at that time we use converter. So that particular converter actually acts as a adapter. So it actually makes the incompatible plugs to fit into your wall socket and serve your purpose. So having said that, Here is a sample implementation. I have implemented 3 examples. One is here, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So for the first, I have taken the example for the first and second, I have taken the example from a Design Guru website, and I have slightly modified this implementation so I can show you the work process. For example, in the first, I have an adapter. I have an adaptive class. This contains a method called getSpecificRequest returning some string, and I want to use this method in my client, and I want a different type of output or different type of text, but I cannot modify this. So I want to add some string or something with this method. So for that, to use this method in the client, I have an adapter class and I have an iTarget interface. So this interface has a method returning string, and I will implement this in the adapter class, and this adapter class wraps the adaptee that will be used in the client, and this adapter class is a constructor receiving the adaptee class as a parameter, and a getRequest method, which is actually for the implementing the iTarget interface, and I have called this adaptee getSpecificRequest from this method. And in the client, I have created an instance and passed the adaptee object with the adapter and assigned to the iTarget interface and called the getRequest method. So since the adapter class is implementing the iTarget interface, I can assign this new object of the adapter class to this interface. And this way I can use the adaptee through adapter. For the second implementation is very interesting. Here I have a round hole class. It has a method called fits, and it round hole fits the round peg and do some work. I have a square peg which is a constructor and a method and doing some work. I want to feed the square peg into round hole. So a square peg is incompatible to fit into the round hole. So for that to integrate, I can use an adapter. So I have used declared a square peg adapter, which is implementing the round peg, and it has some methods. Here I have declared the square peg. That means the square peg adapter wraps the square peg. So to feed an incompatible object to the another class, to a class, we have to use an adapter, and that adapter should wrap the object that you want to fit into. Here we see the flaw that square peg is using the square peg adapter. Square peg adapter is implementing the round peg with a method implementing, and then it fits into the round hole. The adapter makes the square peg look like a round peg. And in the constructor, I have passed the square peg and initialized the object, and in the get radius, I have called the square peg get width method that I have in that square peg class. Now this is the adapter class that makes the square peg to fit into the round hole through the adapter. And in the client, here we see we have declared a square peg instance, two instances in fact, small peg, large peg. And when we try to fit into the round hole, it shows that the incompatibility error cannot convert square peg to round peg. So square peg cannot fit into round peg. Square peg, it has a type error, incompatible type. to remove or get rid of the incompatible type error so that we can feed the square peg to round peg, I have used the square peg adapter, passed the small peg or large peg, and use that adapter, whether it is small peg or large peg. I can call the fit method of the round hole to fit the square peg. So here the round hole has a method, it is accepting the I round peg, and since the small stack adapter, that is square peg adapter, is implementing the in fact I will go show you that implementing the I round peg, so I can assign the instance of the square peg adapter to the I round peg, and now I can actually pass the square peg to the round hole fit method to fit into the round hole through the adapter, square peg adapter class, with the help of adapter, square peg adapter class. So this way adapter actually helps to inject the incompatible type to another type of object with the concept of dependency injection. In the third implementation, I have a legacy logger, and this is a method, and to implement this legacy logger, I have an logger adapter which is implementing the I new logger has a method, and logger adapter actually in the implemented method called loginfo, I have used the method of legacy logger, and in the program class I have initialized and assigned the logger adapter object to the iLogger, and then logger is calling the loginfo of this interface which is implemented in the logger adapter, and it is calling the legacy logger method with some added information. So this way actually we can use the adapter pattern. So the structure of the adapter pattern, we will have a adapter class which will implement an interface, and through that adapter class we can use the adaptee that has to be fit into that was incompatible before the adapter pattern implementation will be fit into the incompatible type through the adapter.